Hey there, it's Dr. Jade, Teta, and welcome to Metabolic Living's Immunity Upgrade Blueprint. In today's lecture, we're going to be talking about stress hormones and how they can lead to issues if they're not properly managed. Stress hormones should only be high with exercise and low when we're resting. And rest-based living is a concept we use here at Metabolic Living to combat stress hormones that you need to understand and use to your advantage. So let's get into the lesson. But first, remember, the best defense is a strong immune system. And how do you get a strong immune system? You develop a strong metabolism, because that is what provides the energy to fuel your immune system in the first place, so it can fight against invaders like viruses and bacteria. We're going to talk today about the mindset and mindfulness component of things. First of all, you need to understand that there is a very particular stress response in your physiology, in your metabolism. This diagram essentially shows you that. You don't need to understand this or be a biochemist, but what you do need to understand is that when the body undergoes stress, it releases stress hormones, primarily cortisol, which impact the metabolic fuel use and also immune system function. Now, when all is well and good and the stresses are short term, the body uses cortisol to its advantage. But when cortisol is high for long periods of time, day after day, it starts to disrupt metabolic function and immune function. So one of the first things we want to understand is that there's certain things that when cortisol is high, we want to make ourselves aware of and do, like exercise. Whenever we were confronted with stress as we evolved as humans, we either fought or fled. There was physical activity involved. This is why, if you're going to have high stress hormones, you want to use exercise, especially short, intense exercise, like you're doing in this immunity challenge, to make cortisol work for you rather than against you. Now, cortisol does a lot of different things. It regulates inflammation. It helps with carbohydrate metabolism. It has some detoxification abilities. It helps with your nervous system health. It helps with your fat metabolism and your musculoskeletal health and your other hormones health. For example, cortisol can help with thyroid function. Cortisol can work with human growth hormone to help you burn fat. Cortisol can be anti-inflammatory and help the immune system not be so reactive. So it does a lot of different things, and we really want cortisol to be working to our advantage. Cortisol is one of these hormones that we call the Jekyll and Hyde hormone, like the old story, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Dr. Jekyll being sort of the mild-mannered, friendly, beneficial person, and Mr. Hyde being the destructive alter ego. Well, to turn cortisol into Dr. Jekyll and have it be a healing, promoting force for our metabolism and our immune system, we need to use short duration, high intensity exercise, preferably individualized to us. That's what the rest-based training and these hashtag get immunity upgraded workouts are doing for us. We also want to understand, though, when cortisol is not managed appropriately, it is a major trigger for cravings and hunger. So when we talk about SHMEC, sleep, hunger, mood, energy, and cravings, and hormonal balance, we have to understand that the stress hormone cortisol turns off the motivation centers in the brain and turns on the reward centers in the brain, making us more likely to crave these kinds of foods. And so we want to really be using cortisol to our advantage. We do that by coupling it with intense exercise, and we also do it by lowering some of the stress hormones at rest. We want cortisol high during exercise, and we want to do exercise that brings in other hormones like testosterone and human growth hormone. We call our workouts the B's and the H's, breathless, burning, heavy, and heat, because these are hormonal indicators. And when you do a workout that gives you breathless, burning, heavy, and heat, you work with cortisol. You help cortisol be productive and effective for the immune system and the metabolism. However, if you exercise for too long or too frequently, you can end up running into issues here. So there is a bell-shaped curve for exercise as it pertains to cortisol. You don't want too much, you don't want too little, you want it just right. And that's why short duration, high intensity workouts done rest-based style, so that you can rest when you need to, and individualize the workout to your unique fitness level and physical abilities helps you use cortisol to its advantage rather than it being hurtful for you. So after exercise, though, what do? So you want to get the right type of exercise, but you also, when you're not exercising, want to be doing things that will lower cortisol. So what are those things? Well, a good night's sleep is huge, but also naps work as well, because not all of us can sleep for many reasons. And so, yes, sleeping 8 hours at night is hugely critical, but also research has shown that a 10 to 20 minute nap also can dramatically lower cortisol and help our bodies manage the stress hormone. Certainly meditation and massage is really useful as well. Now, oftentimes people, when they see meditation or think about meditation, they think it has to be breathing and oming and woo-sighing and, this kind of stuff, sitting cross-legged in lotus pose. But many people meditate in many different ways. Meditation can be simply sitting, listening to relaxing music. Meditation can be sitting in silence. Meditation can occur in a hot bath or a sauna. There's many different places to meditate, and meditation is really just about focusing your awareness on the present moment. And this also seems to calm our nervous system and reduce cortisol levels. One of the best and most enjoyable ways, depending on where you live and what the season is walking, especially in green settings. Research shows conclusively that walking, movement, is hugely important for lowering stress hormones. In fact, some research actually shows that just one bout of walking can lower stress hormones and be really useful for the immune system for very long periods of time. Physical affection, sex, whether it's with a romantic partner or just physical affection with your loved ones and family and or pets, can be really, really useful and has been shown to lower stress hormones. One of the things that a lot of people don't know is creative pursuits, playing an instrument, painting, coloring, even doodling, something creative. This is also a form of meditation for many people. What it does is forces you to stay in the present moment in what you're currently doing. And so creative pursuits can be really big here as well. Of course, we have to be a little bit careful when we think about this, right? Because we want to not necessarily overdo walking and things like that. But here's another example of someone out in nature. Nature exposure actually lowers stress hormones, although we want to be careful because sometimes on these long day hikes, these can be a little bit aggressive and a little bit too stimulating to the system. There's lots of things to do, lots of relaxing herbal teas, having nighttime rituals and things like that, coffee in the morning, anything that you love or that's ritual oriented can actually lower cortisol. Now, coffee, typically we think about raising stress hormones, but what we're talking about is the rituals associated around some of the things that we enjoy in life. And one of the big, huge things that is really effective when it comes to managing stress hormones is having purpose, having something that you love, that you give back to the world, feeling like you belong, sharing your love. I call this relinquum amor, which is Latin for leave your love or share your creative pursuits. And so purpose can be a really, really big one here and is a big stress shield for people to help manage cortisol levels. And of course, things like teaching and podcasting and sharing your voice and feeling like you're making a difference. This also speaks to purpose. Okay, so the key takeaways today: stress management is absolutely key to metabolic health and immune function. We need to learn to use cortisol to our advantage and not have it too high when we're at rest. We have to work to control cortisol and make it work for us. Rest-based living is all about building rest recovery and restoration activities into our life. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thanks so much for watching. Remember, you can still join and access all the old material over at metabolicliving.com. We've got free immune strengthening workouts, meal plans, and recipes. Plus, whether you're paleo, keto, vegan, vegetarian, Mediterranean, whatever your chosen nutrition lifestyle, we've got you covered. We've got meal plans for all of you there. If you've enjoyed this lecture, please share it with your friends and family. And don't forget to follow us at Metabolic Living on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. It's all about boosting your metabolism, strengthening your immune system, and flattening the curve together. Thanks so much for being here, and we will see you at the next lecture.